just working on the things that we have in our we got in ball screen defense, we got in all those things, but we're just half-assed at a lot of different things right now. It's because we haven't gone at the rate that we normally go, where we kind of move on after we kind of conquer something. Now we put a ton of things in and conquer nothing, and hope like heck in the next 2 weeks we can really improve and start becoming a team. Because right now, I mean, we got a lot of things in and we do everything average. So that would be the biggest thing I'm looking forward to seeing the next 2 weeks, because the hard part is in getting everything in, and we don't have everything. We got most everything, and now just honing in and improving on everything that we have in. So that'll be our points of emphasis moving forward.
You end up following that path that Dooley gave you, basically, that just get as much in as you can. Did you end up doing that?
Yeah, I don't know that I've changed everything because of the rules and the contact tracing rules and everything like that, without going into a lot of details. But our teaching days have been teaching days. So we may spend 3 hours getting in 10 different things. And then our go hard days aren't our teaching days. So if that makes sense. So I've when you don't have a lot of bodies out there and there's not a lot of opportunities to rest, you're pretty much cap your practice time at a couple hours, at least with us so far. So my semi-off days have been totally teaching days. And so I don't think that we've gone as hard as many days as we've gone in the past. I think we've gone harder on the days that we have gone hard than maybe in the past. So it's a little bit different, but the biggest reason we've done it that way is strictly for because of the COVID situation and what could potentially be out there for everybody.
Bill, the draft is finally next week. What do you see Udoka and Devon looking like as NBA players? Kind of what do you think their roles will be?
Oh, I don't know about roles. I mean, that would be up to the next staff. With being very realistic, if they could both be backups, that would be an unbelievable role for both of them going into a rookie campaign. I don't think anybody's going to be drafting either one of them and thinking, well, he's an immediate starter. So they're going to have to learn to play with others and make others better and blending in and those sorts of things, and still yet putting their handprint on everything. I'm actually excited because I think that the combine, even though it wasn't a performance-based combine, I think the testing has to have teams excited about both of them at least a little bit more than they were before. I mean, we've been telling everybody forever that Doak's is as athletic as anybody we've had here, period. And I don't think people ever bought into it. But when you see 7'7" and a quarter and a 37-inch standing vertical, the highest ever recorded by a center at the combine, I think that right there kind of opens eyes. I think if he could prove and show, and we've done a few things for him to show how he can switch a 5-1 or a 5-2 ball screen, late clock, things like that. I think that could really, really help him. And Dodd, I think he recorded the second fastest 30-yard shuttle run, something like that, ever in the history of the combine. 1/100th of a second behind, I believe, Donovan Mitchell, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's got to tell people that he's got a gear that most guys can't get to. And so I think that will help them. I don't think that gets them drafted necessarily a lot higher, but I do think it makes them more attractive if they got it down to one or two guys, then they may go with that athletic ability. So I'm excited for both of them. I think they both helped themselves during this COVID time.
Thanks.
Bill, any separation on the perimeter with individual players?
Yeah, I would say there has been a little bit, not like I would hope. Marcus has separated himself, and you guys know that. David separated himself. Ochai and CB have been our next best performers without question. I don't think they've separated themselves like they potentially can. But the question is going to be Bryce and Jalen and Tyon and Tristan. Who's going to kind of emerge out of that? 2 out of those 4, whatever, to play a lion's share of the minutes. I think it'll switch throughout the year. But early on, I don't think there's been enough separation to really say who's ahead right now. I think you can make a case that Bryce has been the best. You can make a case Jalen's been the best. You can make a case where Tristan's had his moments where he was the best. And you can make a case for Tyon, like yesterday, he got on a roll that we haven't had anybody get on a roll here maybe in years in practice yesterday. But you could also say that he's also been the polar opposite of that at times too. So I think these next 2 weeks will definitely determine a lot in that way. It's not really fair to compare Tristan to Tyon because Tristan has an idea of knowing what we're doing, where Tyon didn't have the summer, so he's behind a little bit. So I think as we spend a couple more weeks and get a little bit more comfortable, I think we'll be better apt to tell kind of who's in a position to probably help us most the first couple of weeks of the season.
What did Tyon do that was great?
Excuse me?
What did Tyon do yesterday that was great?
Oh, he just scored the ball. He just scored the ball. Makes hard shots, gets real baskets. Did some things that without going into too much detail, but we haven't had somebody that could go get their own like he can when he's good in a long time. We've also had guys that could go get their own better than Tyon can if Tyon's not good. So we just got to figure out good Tyon and certainly get him to be more consistent.
When you talk about David with his separation, what does that do to Mitch, and how do you kind of envision those two playing their roles this season?
I don't think it affects Mitch one iota. I don't think the fact that David's playing great is going to affect Mitch a lot when he's playing great. I don't think it affects Mitch much when he's not playing great. I think that we need those guys to give us at least a combined 37 to 43 minutes, just depending on certain situations. And however it breaks down, they're going to get their respective minutes regardless. If we play real small, maybe I say 35 to 43. If we play small, neither one could be in there, but the bottom line is one of those guys need to be in there to, anchor it. And if Mitch is playing great, I don't know that affects his minutes a lot. That's one good thing about those two going into it. They know they're going to split 40 minutes for the most part. So if that's true, then I don't think that there's going to be pressure with a guy saying I need to play well to stay in. No, we're going to sub you 4 or 5 minutes regardless if you're playing well or not, and give the other one a chance to play. So, I think David has separated himself as far as the quality of play maybe from anybody in the gym. I think David's been our best performer up to this point, more so than anybody in our gym. So that's not putting anybody down. That's just saying I think he's doing really well right now.
What's his biggest growth?
Excuse me?
What makes you say that about David? Where's he grown the most?
Scoring.
Yeah.
He can score the ball. Yeah. He's scoring the ball for us.
Any health updates?
Actually, Latrell's out there, so knock on wood, we've been pretty fortunate in that regard. So Latrell's behind, but at least he's out there now, so gives us another body to go against. But we get nicked up, but there hasn't been anything too significant to report.
Bill, are you worried about the spike in COVID numbers? They're going off the charts lately, and yesterday one of Biden's advisors said he could anticipate a 4 to 6 week national shutdown. Do you follow the reports, and are you getting worried for basketball?
Well, I don't follow them as close as some do, but if you ask me if I watched the news outlets in the last week, believe it or not, I have been in tune with that a little bit. So, and I do know that the spikes are at an all-time high with a chance to continue to go up. And, I am concerned. I'm concerned a lot. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it reported that OU was shut down? Was it 2 days ago or something like that? I see Seton Hall was shut down, and I don't think it's going to be unusual for anybody to get shut down based on this. It may be the team that only gets shut down once as opposed to twice for a year. But the thing that is so nerve-wracking for a coach and for his team, but if a team gets shut down, you may miss out on those 4 games, or you may play those 4 games with not your full roster. And when you come back, you're not going to be worth the flip because you haven't practiced for 2 weeks. A shutdown is going to mean a team that's playing a tough schedule go 0-6. I mean that's just the reality of it. So that makes it hard. That makes it hard, and so certainly we need to be disciplined and do everything we can to give us the best chance to play just like everybody else does. But there's so many things out there that, is beyond control. You can put guys in a bubble. I mean, we have as good a bubble situation as anybody in the country with McCarthy Hall. We bring our student athletes their food. They don't even go out to get their food. We set, 6 feet apart in the locker room. We have to wear a mask in the locker room it's stuff that our players have bought into. But that doesn't mean that guys can't have contact with somebody that's been exposed at any point in time, nor coaches or anybody else. So I think the thing about all we can do is try to do what we can do to remain as safe as possible, but knowing that even if we do that, that's still not a guarantee for anything. So.
One more for Coach.
Yeah, I'll jump in on David specifically. How is he getting a lot of his points now? Is it still even maybe between post up and jumpers, or is something kind of emerging as his primary source of offense?
Well, I think it's both. I think he can score. I think he can score on the block, but he can score facing too. He's got a nice touch, and you guys are going to talk to Mitch a little bit, and I think Mitch can speak to that as well as anybody because he guards him all the time, or he attempts to, since Mitch is right here. But I think that, David's – I'm not predicting anything crazy, but I'm just saying from what we've seen so far, I think he's going to be a big source of our offensive output based on how I see us playing and playing through our bigs as much as we'd like to.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.